India, Pakistan have worked out a border ceasefire. That's the information that is coming in. The two nations have directly initiated a ceasefire. Pakistani military officer initiated the call. Pakistan DGMO, the Director General of Military Operations, initiated the call this afternoon, after which discussions took place and an understanding was reached. There is no decision to hold talks on any other issue or any other place. There's another twist in the tail. There's another twist in the tail. Oh, big twist in the tail. It's only a ceasefire and no resumption of dialogue between India and Pakistan on other issues is what top government sources are telling India today. Marco Rubio had indicated that both countries are to discuss all issues and other issues at a neutral site. Sources are saying no, there is no decision to hold a decision on any other issue right now. India denies holding talks on any other issue at any other place, is top government sources are telling India today, because the point is ceasefire, yes, so that no lives are lost, but resumption of dialogue with Pakistan is only when credible and irreversible action is taken against India-centric terror, and the Narendra Modi government is very clear about that, Sandeep.
Absolutely, Gaurav. Talks and terror don't go hand in hand. That has been the Narendra Modi government's stance from day one. And there is no question of holding talks with Pakistan as long as this infrastructure of terrorism that we have struck so successfully on the 7th of May is still active, up and running in Pakistan. The infrastructure of terror, Gaurav, once again to explain to our viewers, is something that was set up during the Afghan war to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan, after which the ISI and the Pakistan army used it to train, recruit and launch terrorists against India, beginning from Kashmir in 1990. They spread that war into the mainland. 1993, Mumbai, you had RDX from ordnance factories of Pakistan army being launched and, targeting Mumbaikars, attacking
Sandeep,
them.
stay with me for a moment. More breaking news coming in, and I want to cut across to Rohit Sharma, who joins us from Washington, D.C., and our Foreign Affairs Editor, Geeta Mohan, joining us with this big twist in the tail, that ceasefire, yes, but no other talks on any other issue. Geeta, bring us details. India has denied holding talks on any other issue to take place. Tell us more, Geeta. Okay, for a second.
India at 15:35 hours earlier this afternoon. It was agreed between them that both sides would stop all firing and military action on land and in the air and sea with effect from 1700 hours Indian Standard Time today. Instructions have been given on both sides to give effect to this understanding. The Directors General of Military Operations will talk again on the 12th of May at 1200 hours. Thank you.
Sweet. It's a big statement that comes from Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri. 1700 hours, a ceasefire has been put in place. Big story coming here on India Today, and this ceasefire has come into effect from 1700 hours today. India has confirmed there is a ceasefire in place. It came into effect 1 hour earlier. The conversation took place between the Director Generals of Military Operations. India has confirmed there is a ceasefire in place. A ceasefire that has come into effect at 1700 hours today. There was a conversation between the Director Generals of Military Operations of India and Pakistan. I want to cut across to my colleague Rohit Sharma, who joins us for more on the story. Rohit, ceasefire in place. America is believed to have played a critical role both behind the scenes and now openly. That statement that's come in from Secretary of State Marco Rubio.
Absolutely, Gaurav. I think this is something that America has been wanting to do. We've seen from day one. President Trump has said that he wanted to intervene. He wanted to help both the sides. And then today, finally we learned that, it was a long night here in America. There were a lot of calls between Pakistan, Islamabad, and India, including the Secretary of State Marco Rubio and VP speaking with Prime Minister Narendra Modi. So it seems like America has been.
That, as you know, there'll be a briefing by my colleagues from the military. The Director General of Military Operations of Pakistan called the Director General of Military Operations of India at 15:35 hours earlier this afternoon. It was agreed between them that both sides would stop all firing and military action on land and in the air and sea with effect from 1700 hours Indian Standard Time today. Instructions have been given on both sides to give effect to this understanding. The Directors General of Military Operations will talk again on the 12th of May at 1200 hours. Thank you.
It's a very short and very cryptic statement that's come in from Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri. There's a ceasefire which is already in place. Ceasefire that's already started, 1700 hours, that's 5 p.m. today. The two DGMOs, they spoke at 15:35 this evening, which means 3:35 was when the Pakistan DGMO called up his Indian counterpart and proposed the ceasefire. The ceasefire is on land, sea and air, which means no more will the Indian Navy ships be carrying out their live firing drill and military exercises, naval exercises in the Arabian Sea. No longer will Indian Air Force fighter jets bomb Pakistan Air Force bases and terrorist infrastructure and launch pads, at least not for now. And no longer will the armies remain in a situation where there's ceasefire violation along the line of control on either side of the Pir Panjal ranges. I want to bring in Shivani Sharma, our defense correspondent. So Shivani, the DGMOs will speak again. They usually speak every Tuesday to know what's happening on the other side of the hill and to keep everything under control. But this is a very, very significant call, especially when ceasefire violations were leading to major civilian losses of life on either side of the line of control.
Gaurav, this will not be the usual routine DGMO call that happens every Tuesday, but this will be a special DGMO call that will be taken up on Monday, that is 12th of May, and exactly little more than after 24 hours of ceasefire that has been announced by the Ministry of External Affairs also, and this ceasefire will be maintained on land, air and sea. We were reporting a lot of ceasefire violation along the line of control where a lot of damage was inflicted on the Indian property. The civilians were being harmed, and now when the ceasefire has been announced, there will be a respite on both the sides. But yes, we have to review this ceasefire if it is being met accordingly or not, and we have to keep on the talks at the DGMO level. So on Monday at around 12, there will be a talk between the DGMOs of India and Pakistan to discuss the ceasefire and how it's been taken ahead. Gaurav.
Indeed, Foreign Affairs Editor Geeta Mohan also with us on this story. We have Sandeep Punithan with me on this big story because this is a day of very fast-paced developments. Piyush also joins us on this. Piyush, this was a very cryptic statement that was made by the Foreign Secretary. There was intervention, we are told, from the United States of America. What more are you picking up from your sources?
Well, Gaurav, one thing is clear that ceasefire has been announced by both the sides, and that happened after the Pakistan DGMO spoke with Indian DGMO, and they have announced a ceasefire. Now, the other level of talks will take place. Another talks will take place on 12th of May at 12 noon. And apart from that, no other talks will take place because one thing is clear that we cannot have talks and terror go hand in hand. Also, it's very important to understand, Gaurav, that the sources within the government have told us that any act of terror in future will be considered as an act of war and it will be responded effectively. That's what the sources have told us. And if in future any act of terror is carried out by Pakistan, then we will respond accordingly. Looking at that, we can also expect more developments to take place in the day. But the biggest development which we are right now picking is that ceasefire has been announced, and it was a very brief statement which was made by Foreign Secretary Vikram Misri.
I want to bring in Rohit Sharma, who joins us from the United States. Rohit, sorry we had to interrupt you because you're listening into the Foreign Secretary and getting in reactions. But tell us what happened behind the scenes. We've read the statements that came from Marco Rubio and J.D. Vance, and of course now Donald Trump on Truth Social. Rohit?
Yes, Gaurav, I think, as I was stating earlier, I think President Trump has been wanting to intervene from day one. I think he said it multiple times. And I think over the past days, escalation, I think it was pretty clear that the US wanted to step in. We did see that there was a statement issued by Secretary of State that he had called the Pakistani general last night. I mean, that my night, your morning, and they were talking about it. And it seems to us over here in the US that they've been able to convince Pakistan to stop this and then go out to the Indian side and say, look, we've convinced Pakistan they're not going to do anything, and we should now proceed to talks. Now, there's also talk about having a future talk at a neutral neutral venue. We do not know any details, but it's a big claim. Also, on the other side of things, I think what we've picked up essentially is America did not want any major escalation in this war. Look, as far as Donald Trump is concerned, he came in claiming that he's going to stop war between Ukraine and Russia. He's dealing with situation in the Middle East, and he did not want another war. So I think they were heavily invested in stopping this.
Okay.
And they've been successful. As of now, they've been successful in declaring this ceasefire. Now it all remains on to see if Pakistan follows through and if they do not do any misadventures, Gaurav.
That's a very interesting caveat that you've added, Rohit, because you're well aware of the situation on ground.